Welcome to this in-depth summary of When to Rob a Bank by Stephen D. Levitt and Stephen J. Dubner, the best-selling authors behind Freakonomics. This book is a fascinating compilation of essays drawn from their popular Freakonomics blog, where they explore unusual economic insights, social anomalies, and the unexpected truths hidden in everyday life. With their signature blend of wit and curiosity, Levitt and Dubner tackle everything from crime and finance to human behavior and decision-making. If you've ever wondered about the hidden side of things, like why bank robbery isn't a great way to get rich, what makes lotteries so appealing, or why experts are often wrong, this book has something for you. Stick around for an engaging summary that captures the most intriguing ideas from When to Rob a Bank. Throughout the book, Levitt and Dubner examine various aspects of human behavior and economics in a way that is both entertaining and thought-provoking. They begin with the titular question, when is the best time to rob a bank? While it might sound like a practical guide for criminals, their analysis reveals that bank robbery is actually a terrible strategy for getting rich. The risk-to-reward ratio is extremely unfavorable, as the average haul from a bank robbery is surprisingly low, and the chances of getting caught are quite high. They use this example to illustrate a broader theme in the book, how people often misunderstand risk and fail to make rational economic decisions. One of the most compelling discussions in the book revolves around incentives and how they drive human behavior. Levitt and Dubner show that incentives don't always work the way we expect. For example, when governments or companies create policies designed to curb bad behavior, people often find creative ways to game the system. They discuss how well-intentioned policies, such as cash incentives for good grades or fines for late daycare pickups, sometimes lead to unintended consequences that make the original problem worse. This insight aligns with their broader philosophy that incentives must be carefully designed to achieve the desired outcome. The book also dives into the world of crime and punishment, exploring why people commit crimes and how law enforcement can be more effective. Levitt, who is an economist specializing in crime, uses real data to challenge common assumptions. He discusses the economics of drug dealing, showing that most street-level dealers make far less money than people assume, often earning less than minimum wage. This counterintuitive finding helps explain why many drug dealers still live with their parents. By revealing the financial realities of crime, Levitt and Dubner demonstrate that criminals are often not as rational as economic models suggest. Another fascinating section explores the concept of lotteries and why people are so willing to spend money on them despite the astronomical odds against winning. The authors explain that lotteries serve a psychological function beyond just gambling. They provide hope. Even though playing the lottery is a poor financial decision from a mathematical standpoint, it offers people a temporary escape and a dream of a better future. This example highlights how emotions often override rational calculations in human decision-making. Levitt and Dubner also discuss marketing and consumer behavior, exposing how companies manipulate customers through psychological tricks. They analyze strategies such as pricing tactics, advertising gimmicks, and loyalty programs, revealing how businesses exploit consumer biases. One particularly interesting discussion focuses on why some products, like bottled water, become incredibly successful despite being nearly identical to free alternatives. This ties into their broader theme of perception versus reality and how people often make decisions based on emotions rather than facts. A recurring topic in the book is expertise and the ways in which experts can be wrong. The authors challenge the notion that specialists always know best, providing examples where expert predictions fail spectacularly. They discuss financial analysts, political pundits, and even weather forecasters, showing how their predictions are often no better than random guesses. The takeaway is not to dismiss expertise entirely, but rather to approach expert opinions with skepticism and an understanding of their limitations. Another memorable discussion is about philanthropy and charitable giving. Levitt and Dubner explore why people donate to certain causes while ignoring others, often basing their decisions on emotions rather than effectiveness. They argue that if people applied economic reasoning to charity, they would allocate their money much more efficiently. For example, spending on global health initiatives that save lives for a few dollars each would be far more impactful than donating to expensive but less effective causes. This highlights their belief that economic thinking can improve many aspects of life, even outside of traditional financial decisions. The book also takes a closer look at travel and tourism, examining how people make irrational choices when planning vacations. Levitt and Dubner analyze why people overpay for luxury experiences and why certain destinations become wildly popular despite offering little unique value. They argue that branding and psychological biases play a significant role in the travel industry, with people often choosing experiences based on perceived status rather than actual enjoyment. Levitt and Dubner's irreverent style shines in their examination of cultural quirks, such as why some traditions persist even when they no longer make sense. They delve into holiday spending, wedding costs, and other societal rituals, showing how people conform to social norms even when it leads to financial inefficiency. One of the funniest examples is their discussion of expensive engagement rings, which they argue are largely a product of clever marketing rather than genuine romantic value. Another engaging part of the book covers the science of luck and randomness. The authors debunk myths about lucky streaks, showing that people often see patterns where none exist. This section is particularly useful for gamblers and investors, as it explains why humans are naturally prone to overestimating their ability to predict outcomes. Understanding the role of randomness in life can help people make better decisions and avoid common pitfalls like overconfidence. As the book progresses, Levitt and Dubner explore topics as diverse as environmental policies, urban planning, and technological innovation. They discuss why some environmental initiatives backfire, why traffic congestion is so hard to solve, and why new technologies often create as many problems as they solve. Throughout these discussions, they emphasize the importance of data-driven decision-making rather than relying on intuition or ideology. One of the more controversial ideas they present is the argument that sometimes doing nothing is the best course of action. They explain that people and governments often intervene in problems without fully understanding the consequences, leading to unintended side effects. They advocate for a more cautious approach to problem solving, where decision-makers take time to analyze data before rushing into action. The book concludes with reflections on curiosity and the importance of asking the right questions. Levitt and Dubner argue that the key to understanding the world is to challenge conventional wisdom and remain open to new ideas. They encourage readers to adopt a mindset of constant inquiry, always questioning why things work the way they do and seeking out data-driven answers. In the end, When to Rob a Bank is less about practical advice and more about seeing the world differently. It challenges readers to think critically, embrace curiosity, and recognize that the truth is often stranger than fiction. Levitt and Dubner's unique blend of humor and insight makes this book a compelling read for anyone interested in the hidden side of economics, human behavior, and decision-making.